Who would you become if you were empowered to keep evolving? How would that feel in your most committed relationships, to honor your soul's deepest longings? I want to invite you into a space where we might drop some of the traditions and conventions and structures that we were all raised in. Will you dream with me? I started with a big question. Can feminists marry? That question holds everything for me. And feminism is for every gender. For me, it is about equality for all genders, free from oppression, domination, and violence. And I recognize that access to that kind of freedom is different for everyone, everywhere. I'm Lauren Gage, and I'm a shapeshifter. I've toured theatre internationally, my poetry is published, and I've worked in corporate sales for over a decade and a half. And I've run my own creative consultancy, and now I remain a performing artist and an academic. I have seen firsthand the incredibly diverse, creative, and innovative ways that we human beings come together to connect and feel alive. And I will share with you how that has changed my creative practice, how I love, and how I parent. I stand here understanding that there are 8.3 billion intersectional stories on this pirouetting planet, and mine is only one. I'll take you into my journey, into marriage, into intimacy, and into an exploration of freedom and possibility. So, what do you desire? And maybe it isn't what you were raised to desire. I'm going to talk to you about radical relational intimacy, which holds the possibility for reimagining our committed relationships, and not just our romantic ones. Intimacy starts with self, getting into our body in playful and creative ways. Maybe for you, that's sea swimming or running, and I definitely believe in the healing power of dance floors. And then intimacy moves into the relational sphere with our partners, and then ultimately into community and with the natural world. So, when my now husband and I met 18 years ago, he was training as an actor. No, he wasn't. I was training as an actor. And he was studying economics. And that pretty much sums up the challenge of marriage for me. You have to cross such different landscapes and languages with the deepest faith that it will work. From the very beginning, I've tried to be real, tried to embody my desire. And when we met, I just finished a long relationship and I did not want another one. So I did what anyone might do. I had 4 pints of cider and a one-night stand. And then 10 years later, I married him. Classic boy meets girl. But there was something else that I wanted to explore. I was also feeling attraction to women. Plot twist. So, before he was even my boyfriend, I shared my desire. I said, we need to keep things open. And we had one rule. If you kiss, you tell. And oh, wow, was it exhilarating. We were free. And then after a few months, our communication broke down and we decided it was unmanageable. So we closed the relationship and we have become pretty heteronormative for several years. We made a home together. I had my side of the bed. He had a drawer full of wires. And I felt the quiet weight of convention creeping in. Again, I had to speak. Now, speaking wasn't easy because I was feeling the shame of internalized homophobia, and he felt that my queerness wasn't particularly on brand for him, which is largely understandable given our traditional conditioning. But my sexuality has been an incredible blessing because my pansexuality, which means I can fall in love with any gender, I fall in love with people, it has demanded fluidity. It has invited vulnerable conversation, and that has created intimacy. Being seen is powerful. And in this society with the multiple hierarchical structures, anything different can feel scary and be outsided. Yet what if your difference is a way into intimacy? Maybe you're not queer. Maybe it's your artistry or your indigenousness, your survivorship. Maybe it's your unique quirkiness. Difference holds the potential to invite change. Have courage to speak about what makes you different. Embrace vulnerability. It is a way into intimacy. How did I do it? I was locating my desire. I was using my imagination, one of the greatest capacities that all of us share. And it was in my nature, like it's in yours. All of my poetry and theatre making has been about voicing and expressing myself. And these are your tools too. Tools for living, but also tools for resistance against the rigidity of the structures that surround us and which had pervaded the very intimate sphere of my relationship and my sense of self. These are our tools for agency, reclaiming our power, agency to change our relationships. In these times of incredible human and planetary change, maybe the real power is the power to keep evolving. Radical relational intimacy acknowledges this. It is an ever-transforming cycle. It's an Ouroboros. The Ouroboros is a symbol from ancient Egypt of a snake eating its own tail. And it represents the interconnected, cyclical, regenerative nature of the universe. So how does it relate to relating? Well, we are cyclical beings. We evolve, we connect, we grow. That is the very nature of relationship. We are always influencing and influenced by everything in our orbit. Think of it as a feedback loop. Yes, I am saying get good at giving and hallelujah receiving. This started for me when I asked, can I fully exist in this relationship? Can I explore my identity and remain in relationship with you? And what can I do to help you do that for me? It could have been the rupture which broke us, but it didn't. We bent it round on itself and it became a cycle. Radical relational intimacy requires us to do 5 things. For us to be vulnerable and speak our truth. For us to have humility and hear truth. For us to be able to reflect deeply and trust our own journey. For us to be able to hold our hearts open with compassion and to stay in discomfort, hold our nerve. And above all, to say, I am still committed to loving you. And not only you, but your soul's evolution too, whatever that may be for you. And I'm deeply grateful for you doing the same for me. This is not asking for permission. This is stating our needs and building space in our relationship for them. And it is a dance of reciprocity, this moment-to-moment alive dialogue. And it cannot be understated how important it is that all parties are open, healthy, and self-aware. And this is where the individual and collective work needs to be done. 1 in 4 women in England and Wales have experienced domestic violence. At best, radical relational intimacy is the height of our relationships. Most often, communication is a mix of functional and dysfunctional. But at worst, it is violent. If you want to test how much power and freedom and flexibility there is in a relationship, just add a baby. Or in my case, twins. Beautiful twin boys. And then I learned the transformation in intimacy for better or for worse. And that would have happened whether we said the vows or not. Then I learned the falsities and complexities in the statement that women can have it all. And then I learned that relationships are designed to exist within community from an evolutionary necessity. I naively thought that birthing and breastfeeding my twins would be the hard bit, but actually it was doing that within the straitjacket of the structures which surrounded it. We needed fluidity. We needed to not be doing it alone. Capitalism, the single-family dwelling, and law shape our relationships and how we child raise profoundly. These structures, too, are in need of imagination, feedback, and evolution. And we couldn't have done it without community. We had to go back through that relational Ouroboros to find an embodied sense of freedom. And for me, that was done with sisterhood. Because the intimate relationship that I was building on the inside with my husband, I was also building multiple beautiful relationships around the outside with friends. And where else have I learned vulnerability? Been able to be held in my process of deep reflection. Practiced an open and compassionate heart. Had to hear humility and been able to stay in discomfort. Community created a support system for me to believe that I was worthy of love. And not only worthy of love, but however I wanted and needed it. And I realized that this picture is idealistic. It's got perfect geometry. Not all relationships know how to repair from rupture. We are not taught relational intimacy, how to hold the other in evolution of self. I am experienced in the pain of family estrangement. We've not yet found a way to be in radical relational intimacy, but I hope for that. And true to the cycle, my husband and I, after 18 years, are reimagining our relationship. And separation for us is not failure. It is evolution. And that comes from a deep place of love for each other and for our children. What might be possible in our world if more people chose to return to these spaces of vulnerability, empathy, humility, and learning? Not armored or in control, but present, alive, participating in the collective work of reimagining love. Can feminists marry? I want to be able to say that everyone can do anything they want to do. If you're empowered to evolve, perhaps you can. And radical relational intimacy offers a pathway into a shared understanding of our evolving unfolding of self. A kind of love that gives space for our growth as human beings to develop. Not only alone, but together. Growth between the cracks, beyond convention, empowering people to grow even if that's not with us. The power of that, the humility, trusting, letting go, dying and rebirthing again and again. The world is largely in polycrisis. Maybe an answer is poly-intimacy, abundant civic intimacy, radical relational intimacy. Thank you. Thank you.